What are some evidences for the proof of enlightenment? So we throw this phrase enlightened person, our goal is enlightenment, and some people have been enlightened. And what is generally a very simple proof that this person is enlightened from my perspective in terms of my extensive experience and specialization in the field of yoga and meditation. So in this video I will be discussing that. So I would like to ask you a great favor though. If you like the contents of my video, please like and subscribe. This will greatly help my channel to be able to reach out to more people, and I would really appreciate that. And what I would appreciate even more, if you can do this great favor, this will be highly appreciated. If you could also share it to at least one other, a friend of yours or social media channel, or one or two, and also submit your comment, because I would like to know what you feel and think about my videos, and this I will highly appreciate, and I thank you in advance for it. A very big thank you from my side, right? So, for those who don't know me, I am Osman. I'm a bioenergy healer on a master level with telepathic healing capabilities, specializing in critical care recovery and terminal illnesses, amongst a host of other physiological, psychological, and even spiritual ailments. I'm also an advanced level yoga and meditation teacher, having been practicing this art for almost 50 years and teaching for 44 years. In that period, I studied under various masters from different schools of thought, from different cultures across the globe, right? And I weaned out or gleaned out the essence and things that I found, very effective and duplicable, and created my own simplified protocols, making them much easier, much, much more effective, results orientated, time efficient, basically adapted for the 21st century. To that end, I now have students in over 100 countries, and my favorite protocol is the 5-minute yoga and meditation program that I created, which you can download for free by visiting my website, yogawellness786.com, in exchange for subscribing to my blog, and where you can also get more information about my services. Please remember that my therapies are all natural based and not a replacement for medical treatment. So, coming back to the question on enlightenment, so fortunately, we have amongst us a person that is enlightened, and everyone considers him enlightened, and he's got billions of views per year, in his videos. I think in 2023 he had 3.5 billion views. Is Sadhguru. So we'll consider him enlightened, and he, by his own admission, says that he is not educated, right? But he used to love reading. He used to spend all his time in the library reading about all subject matters. But how can an average person remember all that? So you see in his interviews, he's being questioned by so many people and interviewed by so many people. So aside from people, general people from the audience, which is so amazing how he answers every question, right? And how he has all this information and this knowledge. So he's also in discussions with experts, with ecologists, with scientists, with, I know there was an anesthetist, there was a neurologist, and there's even journalists, and they grill him, right? And he is able to answer questions from these experts that were confusing the experts. So these people, let's say the ophthalmologist, right? Or let's take the one example was the anesthetist, right? What I was listening to, and he was asking something, and there's some things that he didn't know and understand, and asked Sadhguru, and the way Sadhguru answered it, as though he is the professor of this person, but this person is a professor himself, right? And spent his whole life only in this field. But Sadhguru is able to troubleshoot and answer questions as though he's got the intelligence of all the AI put together. And AI is considered to have the intelligence of 1 million people. So, and he claims to be unlearned. Like sometimes they ask him questions on the Bhagavad Gita. I'd say, I must admit, I never read the Bhagavad Gita my whole life. And he did hear some phrases here and there. hearsay, and but he never read the book. Then he gives an answer as though he's the expert in that field. He read things cover to cover, the background. He read where the Bhagavad Gita was extracted from a book called the Mahabharata. He knows the background of the Mahabharata, such a big, voluminous book, right? He knows that, and Vedanta and the Yoga Sutras and the Upanishads. He said, "No, I never studied all that. I never did that, and I never." So it is so amazing that he's got so much of knowledge. How come he has it, right? So, is this a symptom of enlightenment? How is it a symptom of enlightenment? So, enlightenment is what, as by his own admission, is you got all the knowledge and information, access to everything within you. So, the source of all knowledge is inside you. He even says very commonly, you when you buy the latest smartphone, you want to read the manual 3 years later, or you want to read the manual as soon as you get it, in order to be able to use it effectively. You buy any new toy, you buy a car, you want to know how it works before you start driving it, right? Where's the air conditioner, where's the fan, where's the brake pedal, where's the steering wheel, where's the gear shift, how to open the windows, how to adjust the seat, how to open the fuel tank, how to open the bonnet, to access the engine, to change the oil, check the oil, and how to open the trunk of your car, or the boot of your car, in order to store your luggage and so forth, because there's special buttons, and everything has got buttons these days, right? And how to switch on the speedo cruise if you've got a speedo cruise, and all the different functions, how the sound system works. So and how it's a little bit it needs some this thing, right? For just a car. Now the most complex is your body, and it's something you are born with. Have you read the manual for it? And everyone says there's no manual. Haven't read it. No, of course no one. But where he said, no, it's within you. It's within you. If you do inner engineering, go inside, you start getting knowledge. So I mean, now I think I've created almost 300 videos in a 6 week period, right? That is a lot of information, right? It seems like I have like unlimited information, on it. So I am not enlightened, right? I'm not enlightened. I've attained Samadhi levels few times, but I couldn't stay in it because my body is not yet fully developed, and I'm slow, and I also was not very interested in it. For those of you, had the experience, similar type of experience, even in with psychedelic drugs. I never used psychedelic drugs, just what I heard. They experience certain high levels that is highly ecstatic, and you can't stay long in it, right? And you come out of it. So how, in that level, I went into it, and I've experienced, like a taste of enlightenment, right? Just a taste of it, to know when people talk about enlightenment, what they are talking about. When they say this is energy, very powerful, it's mind-blowing stuff, I know what it means, right? I had a taste of it. So because people normally think left or right, black or white, this or that, two choices, or maximum three or four choices, five choices. I can think of 1,000 different ways, 1,000 different possibilities from a scenario, because I'm developing the finer and finer capacities of my natural inborn brain, right? Because people generally are using at best 8 to 10% of the brain, according to modern science. And the purpose of yoga is to awaken the higher capacities of the brain. This is the first target, right? Before we go to enlightenment and all that, first is to open the 100% capacity, is what it's designed for, and then think about enlightenment, and is there a God, and further things, and higher frequencies, and is there life, other life forms, and is there UFOs and all. Before we answer that, let's just switch on our brain, right? First, because we must be able to perceive. So I'm practicing for so long, there has to be some difference between me and regular people, right? So how many people can create, 5 to 10 videos every day, on a unique perspective, right? Going on and on and on. It's not common, right? It's uncommon. Maybe there are some odd few people. Normally, when there's YouTube channels, And I've been wanting to create this channel for I think over a decade, maybe 2 decades. I've been wanting to do this, and I wanted to write it, but I felt I didn't have enough knowledge. And eventually, I said, I still feel I know nothing. But I have acquired a lot of information that I know that is unique, that I learned over the years, that I shouldn't keep with me and die with it. And we went through COVID, and I nearly died, a couple of times already, about 3 times. I had a near death experience, in a car accident, and adverse effect to, allergic reaction to, a drug and so forth, and almost died, and I would have died with all that. So rather, I put it on a platform that is going to outlive me, right? So the YouTube, I expect and hope, that it may outlive me, and at least they, the public at large can access, and maybe there's a subject matter, that they're searching for, and maybe there's something that can, assist them to improve their life in one way or another, or the practice, right? Especially in this field, because this field, there's a lot of secrets in it. So when you just look at me, I'm not enlightened, but I can think, imagine someone who's enlightened, right? Maybe the average person is 8 to 10%, maybe I got 11%, 1% more, right, from all the practice. But someone like who's enlightened has got 100%. So imagine, so they are able to get the information from inside. So much of the knowledge, yes, I've got the outer clues, but I'm able to understand it fully from one or two things, then I can understand the conclusion. I can think 1,000 different things, conclusions from it. I like the books, like you can compare it to the way the mind of Sir Arthur Conan Doyle works. The series of stories, the old detective stories called Sherlock Holmes. Sherlock Holmes, the character, was the investigator, and his best friend Watson, the Dr. Watson, that he always discusses, at the end, how he, cracked this puzzle and so forth. It's amazing, his modus operandi, but it is actually the author's mind, that was able to create that type of story. And he was, I think, the professor of criminology. He was an alumni of the Oxford University in England, in London, and it's considered one of the oldest universities, in the Western world. Not one of the oldest universities, one of the oldest Western universities in the Western world. And he was very often called to Scotland Yard to help them to solve cases that were baffling to them, right? So he was a great mind. So similarly, our mind starts to able to think that way as a result. So naturally, I was not born this way. Naturally, I was born really, worse than dumb. I mean, I was a great guy, nice behavior, and a healthy kid, and pleasant child and so forth. But when it came to the brains department, I had a teaspoon less, right? And some people get a teaspoon extra. I had probably a teaspoon less. I used to really struggle just to pass, despite being, working very hard and studying very hard. But as I was practicing yoga from childhood, and I was so dumb, I just believed whatever I read, right? I mean, as children do, that it will do this. And I was like into my version of Harry Potter was the stories I used to read about the mystical powers of people, yogis, in stories. And that's why I was interested in yoga, to get the powers, right? Like how any child wants to get the magical powers of Harry Potter, right? And believes that these are all true. So like that, I was that's what lured me into yoga, and I went very deep into it, right? And so forth, from a young child. That was my perspective, and of course, it developed the finer capacities of the brain, and able to understand things in a very nuanced manner. So most of my videos, you'll find original content, a perspective that's nowhere on YouTube. Many of the videos, right? Probably more 80-90% of it, giving that type of perspective. Even, I mean, enlightenment is when it like comes like a flash, you know the thought or the answer comes like a flash in your mind, and you become more inclusive as well. When you enlighten, means your consciousness extends beyond your body. You are feeling what the people around you feels, what they are thinking. You also know what they know. You also know what they studied. You suddenly, it's as though you studied. It's like their brain and your brain is one and the same. You become more inclusive within a certain radius, depending on how powerful you, because you have varying degrees of enlightenment, right? So as you become more and more intensely enlightened, because you move up the gradations of enlightenment, your radius of consciousness increases, where it covers like just like a few meters, like a 1 or 2, just a little bit beyond you, and then 1 or 2 meters beyond you. Then it can cover the whole room. Then it can maybe cover the entire hall, and then it can cover, like several kilometers, right? Some people, it's claimed that their consciousness covered like up to 80 kilometers, radius, and they knew if someone were coming, within that period, then they know this person is on the way, and this is going to be so and so, and he's got this problem, and he's coming to ask this thing. You don't even have to ask the question; they know your question, because they know what's in your mind. It's just that people not very clear in the mind, so the people who are enlightened, not sure which question they want to present, because they got like 1,000 questions in the mind, right? So that's why the enlightened person, okay, ask your question, let's see which one, and then he answers it from his own perspective, the enlightened person's perspective. So enlightened means is lit up, means the is not in darkness, right? So you have ignorance and light, right? So ignorance is compared to darkness, and light is concerned, comparable to knowledge, right? So that's why the term enlightenment, right? And also from uh, okay, I won't go into that, but since I've already started, let me just mention what I was thinking. So we by default, all humans by default, they have 114 energy centers, right? Or the chakras, not just the seven chakras that you heard of. The seven are the major ones, and they are subsidiary, energy centers, and there are 114 total in number. And of the 114, the default that are active is only 26. The rest needs to be activated using tools like yoga, pranayama, meditation, things like that, and the kriyas that will help to awaken all that. So they also, each energy center, as they become unblocked and fully active, they have a specific color. It like lights up. So when your spiritual eye opens, you'll be able to see. Even in, it's a very simple thing. When I do chakra unblocking, all the people that I unblock, they can see the light of each chakra in their mind's eye. It comes up and they wonder, what is this light? I said, no, this is in through your through your inner eye, you're able to see this, right? And it appears in front. Then I know which chakra is unblocked, which is left to block, left to unblock, and I continue till all the major ones are unblocked, and you can see this light. So when a person is enlightened, he doesn't have the 26 default that are working in a low power mode. It's all full power, all lit up. The average person, they're all dark, right? Until you unblock them. They are blocked, so they're covered with blockages, but they're still functioning on a low mode. You can't see the light. Once you see the light, they are unblocked, right? On a certain level. So it lights up. So a person who's enlightened, his entire 114 energy centers are all lit up, is lit up like a Christmas tree, right? If you can see through your spiritual eye, you'll see this person all lit up like a Christmas tree, and you call him enlightened being. So also they have people who are, whose spiritual eye is open. They will see, they will have the top part of the head very bright and colorful light, all rainbow colors, around the head in this area, right? And like me, I can see, right? I'm blind, but I can see the spiritual lights, right? Because the spiritual light, you cannot become blind with that. So this part of my skull, this part is lit up like a bright light, and it changes colors, and all colors come through it, and it's very beautiful, right? And this part is, it's also lit up like a light is here, white light, but sometimes it changes colors as well, depending, on the circumstances, what it's seeing, and so forth. But generally, it's like a white light, in this region, that I can see, like it's somewhere here, I can see it in my mind's eye, right? Lit up. So an enlightened person is someone where all is lit up. Mine is just one or two. It's just starting to light up, right? Starting. And of course, with so much of practice, something has to happen, right? By default. Doesn't, because whether I'll become enlightened or not, it's like a fraction of a percentage, right? To So it's not something that we like strive toward, but we practice on a daily basis, and hope that we can achieve. We do the best we can, but don't get disappointed if we don't attain it. And those that are around us that are enlightened, we have to be gifted to have them, because they're an amazing example and they're trying to show a shorter way. Even myself, my efforts are about creating shorter, simpler, more effective protocols. And to that end, from my 44 years of teaching, it's not uncommon for my students who engage my advanced yoga and meditation services to have an out of body experience within 1 to 2 days, right? And it's not uncommon for my students who are more or less disciplined, not very disciplined, like about 20 to 30 minutes a day discipline, right? To attain the breathless state in 12 months. It's not uncommon. It's not like a surprise to me when that happened, right? And this is amazing phenomena, that I can duplicate this in people. And usually my students are from Europe and from westernized countries that have no background in the yogic sciences cultures, and they didn't grow up with this, and the first time they're exposed to it was when I'm teaching them, right? When they engage my services, and its a result is very fast. And even it balances the energies, and not uncommon for the people to find the soulmate. I had many people that I did chakra unblocking, they never yet find the soulmate as well. And they are struggling, they say financially. If they financially not struggling, then they would get into it. But it's supposed to open your creativity, that you can solve your own financial problem. But there could be other factors as well that preventing it, but not from inside you. When I unblock the chakras, that unblocks everything, right? So when you do that, you are going closer, one step closer to enlightenment, right? Because I lit up your chakras, right? Lighting up. So enlightenment, evidences of it is that the maximum is someone like Sadhguru. And of course, there are people, greater than, but I haven't experienced someone on this planet that I know was greater than Sadhguru, in the sense that he has initiated millions of people into the thing. So I thought Paramahamsa Yogananda in 1960s, in his Kriya, he had to do spiritual initiation. He initiated 10,000 people, right? And to give you an example, Jesus, he had 12 apostles. So you say he initiated 12 people, right? But yes, he spoke generally to everyone. So even Sadhguru speaks generally to everyone, not enlightening. But those that go there to his center and go through the course, the 32-hour course over that number of days, 21 days or whatever it is, and they awaken the spiritual initiation, so that it's much easier, for them to progress in the meditation field. So this is something very great aside from everything else that he's doing. So these are evidences of an enlightened person. They are like a superman. They can do things. I mean, he's got the largest volunteer organization. I think he's got 11 million volunteers that are all working for him without salary. Why will they so many people work for someone like him without salary? Not just a small group. It's not a cult, right? 11 million people across the globe is volunteering, right? And he's setting up centers across the globe. And he's also involved in with the United Nations and various government level for multiple countries, including Europe and so forth, on save the soil mission and planting trees. And uh, I think there's a mission he had, Kaveri calling, for the streams to flow again and so forth, and bringing in rain, and really like they, and then also helping the underprivileged women, prejudiced, and helping them to get educated, creating schools, and so forth. So he's involved in so many things. This is really amazing. So these are some of the evidence of enlightened person. It's not something magical. It's just he's opened up higher capacities of the human brain, and what the human potential is. So yes, maybe it's not easy for us all to reach 100% level, but we can strive and at least get 1% better, right? And at least be able to create like 300 videos in a 6-week period with all unique content. At the very least, imagine, in being able to create creative ideas. I'm self-employed now for 29 years in other industries and commercial enterprises and so forth, and I'm running multiple businesses as well. And just when I turned 50 years old, I decided to focus 100% of my time, withdraw from the commercial activities, and focus on just my passion on energy healing and yoga and meditation, helping people to find easier and creating easier protocols, to succeeding and showing that energy healing is possible, because I'm healing on a very advanced level, healing, critical care recovery specialized in, and terminal illness and specialized in. My success rate is very high as well, like it's over 90%. And this is like something, and because I'm very passionate about it, anyone very passionate about something, they put the all in. And how much I'm getting paid, how much of money I've earned in this past 6 years compared to what I earned, in a commercial enterprise, is not even a drop in the ocean, right? It's so much more. I can easily go back to what I used to do. Today I can, this flip and just start focusing on, one of my other enterprises that are very cash flow intensive, and I would be fine, super fine again, where I can't spend the money. I used to just think, and I used to buy about everything that I could ever dream of, right? In my life as an entrepreneur, I traveled, over 100 countries, and owned everything that I could dream of, had, everything, whatever I wanted, I could have it, right? And, in my past, and now, focusing on this, aspect, because I want to, leave, I want to, give to the world what I enjoyed, through my advancements in the yoga and meditation field, which I felt greatly helped me not only in my health but also in my creativity and intuition, and be able to create unique business plans, and be able to, navigate stressful situations and come out of it. I never declared insolvency or went, liquidity, no matter what difficulties I went through, because I always believe, I'm a faith-based person, and I always believe we will never come across a challenge greater than our ability to bear, and it's just that we need to look for the solution. The fact that we identify the problem means there is a solution, right? And throwing in the towel is not part of the solution. So I hope that information helps you and helps you to, move forward and strive. Use some of the simple ideas. It's free. The ideas are free, right? You don't have to engage my paid services or anything. And I don't keep any secret, right? In all my videos, there is zero secret that I've kept. Every secret, that I knew, I disclosed it, in all the videos. So you'll be able to access it and create your own, advancement, and find happiness in your life, be able to surf through your problems, come out of your problems, manifest your, it'll work very well with the law of attraction, right? And I can recommend someone, Bob Proctor, which he is very passionate, and he knows what he's talking about, right? You follow his simple advices, what's for free, it's going to greatly improve. So Bob Proctor, he lived to a ripe old age, and it's a sad loss that he passed away, And recently they replayed an interview in one of my favorite podcasts, and I don't get paid for mentioning it, the School of Greatness. I got no affiliate link or anything that I'm earning from it. School of Greatness by Lewis House. He interviewed, Bob Proctor, and he replayed that interview, recently. It was so amazing. I downloaded it and I saved it so that I can listen to it over and over and over. It's just one of his last live interviews, and a lot of important things. He says it helped me a lot in my past, right? What he talks about, and this can also help you. So you don't have to think of enlightenment as something so idealistic and never to be reached. You can progress a lot in your own circumstances and make great improvements, and compared to where you are and where you can be, it's going to be as though you have achieved, multiples of enlightenment, to how different life can be. Life can change, it can be good. And I was even surprised when my life turned around and I could buy things, and I was struggling, and then I was not struggling, right? And I was struggling for long periods of time, and then I was always positive and knew there's a way, and I followed mentors like Bob Proctor, Tony Robbins, and a lot of other mentors and books and so forth, right? That I used to read in the past. Now you don't have to read books anymore. You can, listen to the audio or listen to interviews and get cutting edge information, in the palm of your hand, right? So your life can be changed. So hope that information helps you. And don't just think of enlightenment as something like so big and idealistic, and that cannot. Yes, I mean, if you want to strive for it, amazing, go for it, right? And there are shorter ways, easier ways, that have created protocols that can improve your chances of attaining that which is so elusive, right? And but what's going to happen along the way is you're going to have so many other benefits, thousands of other benefits, right? Thousands, right? And really make life worth living. Anytime something can happen to me, I can be struck by lightning. I always tell everyone, if I'm going to be buried, always remember that I lived my life to the fullest multiple times over, right? So where someone lived the fullest life, I lived like 1,000 such fullest lives, right? Literally, right? And I have got no regrets. Really an adventurous and amazing, past that I had. So I want you to also have that. And it's never too late. Remember Colonel Saunders? He started his KFC, franchise at the age of 69, right? And it's still existing to today. And he grew to a very major enterprise during his lifetime, right? And he became financially independent, in his lifetime as well. And look at some of the things some of the people reach. So you don't want to uh, be the owner of Apple, but if you can pay your rent and live comfortably and have a house and a car of your dreams, and be able to have your own family and a home, that you can buy all the things, all the food items and the clothing, and go on your little vacations every year, I think you'll be super fine. Most people, 99% of people, are going to feel super amazing, to be able to live such a life. Can everyone attain it? I believe so. I believe everyone, there is sufficient resources on this planet that everyone can be happy. Why not? So take care. I hope that helps you, and take care of yourself always.